Hello, welcome to Landlording TV, teaching you how to organize and run a profitable rental empire. I am your host, Justin Palma, and last week we were talking about RentCheck, formerly rentcommand.com, our proprietary, free, no credit card required online landlord software. Now today we're talking about one of the new features we added to it now that it's RentCheck, and actually how to bookkeep and record properly is security deposits. Now when we were putting RentCheck together, we started doing some research on rules for security deposits, and there's some interesting ones I did not know, and let's see if you knew them. Okay, security deposit. Now this is a New York State example. It's different for every state, so you really have to ask your attorney because it changes constantly, and don't trust the internet. So first interesting fact, and you should know this, so I guess this wasn't that interesting, is regardless of the number of units, landlords must put security deposits in a separate account and treat it as if it were a trust fund. Yeah, you should do that. That was good. That was an obvious one, sorry. This one was interesting. Landlords of buildings with 6 or more apartments must put all security deposits in an interest-bearing account at the prevailing rate, 1.5% for New York State. Now, I had no idea that based on the number of units in the apartment is whether or not to actually put interest on those accounts. I thought it was kind of globally or not, and again, this is New York State, so it could be on all security deposits for your state you need interest, but I did not know security was you didn't have to unless you had 6 apartments or more in one building. Tenants must be given the option of having this interest paid to them annually, applied to the rent, or paid at the end of the lease term. I always thought it was just the end of the lease term, did not know could be paid annually or applied to rent. That was news to me. Also news to me, if the building has fewer than 6 apartments, but you voluntarily place the security deposits in an interest-bearing bank account, you must also follow these rules. So you must also allow them to receive it annually, apply it to rent, or paid at the end of the lease term. I thought that was just a nice gentlemanly thing to do, just, you know, give them interest, but no, there's rules attached. That's like gremlins that come with instructions. Then also, what I did not know, which I thought was really interesting, is landlords are entitled to annual administrative expenses of 1% of the deposit. Now, let me break this down in our famous graphs. So in our example, let's say we have a $1,000 security deposit, and at your state, they insist you pay them 2.5% interest. Good luck finding that savings account. Does not exist. The total interest in 1 year is $25 on $1,000 at 2.5% interest. 1%, $10 of that deposit is applied to administrative fees. That's you. So of the $25, $15 goes to them as interest, but $10 goes to you. So you're really paying 1.5%, which is a little more reasonable, so at least you're not going to be losing money on these interest-bearing security deposits. Now I want to go into RentCheck, and I'm going to show you how to record this properly so you can see it. It's itemized, it's easy to understand for the tenant side, and it's easy to record that income because all security deposits you keep are to be recorded as income to the IRS. That's important too. Okay, so let's pull up RentCheck. Okay, so this is me. I'm Justin Palma, and we are in the security deposit section of RentCheck. So to give you the overview quick, I'm assigned to 55 Main Street, New York, New York. This really isn't all filled out at all. But if we go to my security deposit, the rental agreement I'm in requires an $1,000 security deposit, and I am negative $1,000 because I have not paid anything. So let's go ahead and add today, the 26th, a payment of $1,000. Create. Security deposit successfully added. And now we're zeroed out. So we had a negative $1,000 balance because we owed that. I paid $1,000. The balance became 0. So let's say the end of this month is when I get my interest at 2.5%. So we're going to add a deposit. We're going to just say it's the end of January. It's interest earned, and that is $25. Create. Okay. So now we see I did a deposit, interest earned. So I now have a positive balance of $25. Now, following with the rules we just learned, I would return to the tenant on this day $15. Now, there's a $10 remaining balance, just like our graph. I'm going to keep $10. Now, why did this unit come up? This is the unit that my tenant, me, is living in. That's the rental agreement, so it defaults to that. You have to select that because we need to apply that income, this $10, to that property for tax purposes. So go ahead and create. And now we're zeroed out. So we earned interest of $25. We returned $15 to the tenant, and we kept $10. Now, if we go to our property, which was 55 Main Street, and we go to bookkeeping, we're going to see Justin Palma, the tenant, we kept security deposit of $10, and this was added, so for the month of January we have $60 income. So this is all correct. We have $10 taxable income from that interest-bearing account. So you would do the same thing if this tenant were to move out. You would keep however much damage. So if they were awful and you kept the whole thing, you are keeping this $1,000. It says negative $1,000 because you kept it. And then again, 55 Main Street in bookkeeping, we kept that security deposit too. So that was taxable income of $1,060. So make sure you spend that money on the apartment. The money you do spend, you actually deduct it properly. That is it. It's important to do that. It's important to record your security deposits properly. It's one that's easily overlooked, but one that can be, that could get you if you were to ever, God forbid, be audited and they saw that you did not have a separate bank account for your security deposits, or you were not itemizing these things properly, or your accountant will kill you because he'll be doing it at midnight trying to catch it up. So make sure you use that. Use RentCheck. It's completely free, no credit card required. It does all this for you. Get organized, see the bottom line, know what you're actually spending, know what you're actually earning, and that was it. Security deposits on RentCheck. Go to www.getrentcheck.com to sign up, totally free, be in seconds, and start organizing your security deposits.